It's June 16th. You guys are now tuned in to Legal Wars Live. It's your boy Big Ghostwriter, man. You know what I'm saying? I would say this the Tax the Rich series, but it's more like a tour. You know what I'm saying? Going to different cities, bringing you guys content, great content, I hope. The Tax the Rich tour. I just want to tell everyone who watched this video, you know what I'm saying? This morning, guys, we have a great vlog out this morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. All you got to do is at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, come on back. You know what I'm saying? Click on the video tab, and under the video tab, you will see Tax the Rich number 7. Tax the Rich number 7. I shot it in Madison Square Garden. That give me a perfect segue. You got to think about it, guys. Shot this video probably 2 weeks or so from today. So, it's like I knew in my heart that the Knicks were finna win the national championship. So, you know what I'm saying? Just happened to be in New York and want to be a part of that. It's been over 50 years since they won a national championship, and just so happened that Big Ghostwriter during the year is in New York, a basketball fan too, as people know, you know what I'm saying, recording and tax the rich political content. So I think politics and I think you could learn a lot from sports. You know what I'm saying? I think politicians could learn a lot from sports. So I did the vlog about that. I don't want to give you guys that too many details this morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. It's under the like I said, under the video tab. You know what I'm saying? Tax the Rich 7 on the tour. As you guys coming to the stream, I'm gonna ask that y'all double tap the screen for me, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure y'all hit the notification bell. All of you guys who are watching this after it's pre-recorded, this morning, you know what I'm saying? I feel like this morning is a morning to where the content is the most suiting for the Tax the Rich tour. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people will be like, man, this the Tax the Rich tour. And even though I'm talking about political content, a lot of content that we're covering really is not about taxing the rich. And that's accurate. You know what I'm saying? A lot of content that we're going over more or less has to do with the Iranian war, but I would think that's a lot of content that anybody's going over. But this morning we're going to be talking about actually taxing the rich and what's it mean to tax the rich and what's it mean to not tax the rich. You see what I'm saying? So guys, if y'all hadn't liked the video, as y'all come in, make sure y'all double tap the screen for me, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, guys, so y'all hear me say this a couple of times. If y'all, you know what I'm saying, this morning, that Elon Musk, man, if you guys did not know, he owns a company called SpaceX. So one of Elon's many companies. Let's just talk about Elon for just a brief second before I get into his status as the world's first trillionaire. So Elon started off, and he PayPal blew up. He did PayPal with someone else. You know what I'm saying? And once PayPal blew up, you know what I'm saying, Tesla was already established, and Elon went to Tesla. No one ever said Elon started Tesla, but Tesla wouldn't be what it is today for sure if it wasn't for Elon Musk. So Elon Musk, he went out to Tesla, and the rest is history. Among Tesla, you see what I'm saying, Elon, one of his other countries is Twitter. If you guys don't know, Elon Musk bought Twitter. You know what I'm saying? He acquired it and he named it X. So it's called X. Another company he has is called SpaceX. Now, SpaceX actually they make rockets and they shoot rockets into space. You see what I'm saying? So what happens is SpaceX hits public trading, it hits the market, it hits the Dow Jones for the first time. So people are able to invest in Elon's company, SpaceX. Once that happens, Elon's wealth go from 700 and something billion, 800 and something billion, and it instantly skyrockets to 1.1 trillion with a T dollars. Now, if you guys know Ghost Rider, and y'all notice the Tax the Rich tour, y'all like, oh man, this story is food for Ghost, man. He finna light into Elon, but that's not what I'm finna do. You see what I'm saying? If you guys know me really well, you'll know, and I told you a whole lot of times, if there's any billionaires that I like, it would be Elon Musk. You know what I'm saying? I seen things from Elon, but we not gonna really talk on that. We gonna stay on the politics of this. This man that created a whole new tax bracket. Now you got your broke people. Hey, I ain't talking about you or picking on you. I'm talking about Big Ghost Rider. Right above that, you got your thousandaires. You got the people who get where they got a few 100,000, but they ain't touched a million. Then you got the people who got the millions, they in the low millions. Then you got people who got tens of millions and hundreds of millions. And you go from hundreds of millions, and now we up to billions. And then you have people like President Trump. We always talk about Big President T. He a billionaire, but you know, he might only have 5, 6, 7, 8 billion. And then you would go up to people who was like Elon or like Jeff Bezos is currently, and they have hundreds of billions of dollars. Elon didn't eclipse all of that. And he didn't hit $1 trillion, $1.1 trillion. Do you realize how much money that is? The whole United States deficit is 39 trillion. Think about that. If you got 39 Elons in America, you got the whole US deficit and some, 1.1 trillion. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying that $1 trillion from one person compared to the whole United States deficit that we done ran up. I just want you to realize how much money he has, how much money he makes. He makes millions of dollars daily, tens of millions of dollars daily. And this is one person. Now, I'm not hating on that, but I would like to say good morning, Michelle. If you guys haven't liked the video, make sure y'all double tap the screen. Listen, I'm not hating on Elon's wealth, his success, and the money he's getting, but I'm saying Elon should be the first and the last trillionaire in the world. I promise you, this world does not want to see men running around with $1 trillion. Are we serious? I'm saying, what you gonna do with $1 trillion? Bro, listen, I've said this 1,000 times. The men who have too much money, there you could get a point in life where everything you've ever desired, you're able to do it, get it, have it, accomplish it. You understand that? That's what you looking at with a man, not with billions. You talking about men with millions of dollars, pretty much. Anything in life they want, they could have. You know how us regular folk, we'll see, oh, a Range Rover. You done spotted a Range Rover, so you plotting to get a Range Rover. And you know this $100,000 vehicle. You know, even when I get some money from one of my lawsuits, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna have that much, or neither would I want to spend that much money on a vehicle. So I'm saying you gonna get a used one. But I'm saying somebody like this or somebody who really ultra rich at any time in their life, anything they desire, they could go to Paris and eat a bagel for lunch. You see what I'm saying? A man having that kind of money, you put that kind of money or the ability to acquire that kind of money, because you got to know we have gatekeepers, you know what I'm saying? In America, you got gatekeepers all across the world. But I'm saying we've had people, that's how you get an Epstein list. You got bad people with a whole lot of money because you made the market so open and so easy for anyone to acquire a whole lot of money. And that's what we have in America. And besides America, you can't control how in foreign nations these evil men get a whole lot of money. And they don't need the money. I'm listen. People think of, yeah, that's just we gonna break it down. We doing a whole tax the rich thing this morning. And I'm sorry, like I said, I'm not picking on Elon. I'm not talking about Elon, but I'm using the situation to where this dude is worth $1.1 trillion. And if we look at our Epstein lists, or if we look at all the corruption lists, all of these lists across America, they all have on the list billionaires and 100 millionaires. You see what I'm saying? If you start talking about who's really running and dictating and controlling America, the families behind the scenes, they not nobody like Ghost. They not nobody of your family. We talking about the same billionaires, 100 millionaires. The same thing, man. The corruption, the problems we have in America. Listen, We go back and forth. I hear the Trump derangement syndrome. You got Trump derangement syndrome. The Democrats then got smart and they then came up with the Obama derangement syndrome. So you got Obama derangement syndrome. And truth be told, I seen people with Trump derangement syndrome and I seen people with Obama derangement syndrome. Both of them. You see what I'm saying? But what they don't realize is you could vote red, you could vote blue, you could vote red. It's the same thing happening in America and has been happening in America, man, for thousands of years. I'm just playing. America ain't even been here for thousands of years, but for hundreds of years. Real talk. Same things happening in America. We see Vietnam and we see the mistakes it made in Vietnam, we see them repeated. Iraq too. We see those mistakes repeated again. Afghanistan, we see it almost repeated again with Iran. We almost had Vietnam number 4. It don't matter what president it is, bro. We have pretty much the same problems. It's not like when president. Okay, so we say, oh well, when President Bush was president, he added more debt to the national debt than any other president in U.S. history. And that's true. The second George Bush, the Republicans could blame the housing crisis or whatever. Yeah, that's what happened. But you know what happened? A Democrat came in behind him, and that's President Obama. So you think what President Obama did? President Obama, he the exact opposite from Republicans. No, he added more debt than so he the debt leading adder to the U.S. economy. Now President Obama is. And so President Trump and them come in talking smart, talking smack, You see President Obama? And guess what he ended up doing? He ended up adding more debt to the U.S. economy than President Obama did. You get that? You get starting to clear the picture. And so you say, oh, yeah. Well, it's the Republicans. Like I said with George Bush, that was just a mistake because Obama, he had to fix. And what you think President Biden did? That's what I'm trying to tell you. Look, if you look at the problems America have, they uniform across parties. We have the same problems across parties. The Democrats just say it in a different way than the Republicans. But it's the same thing. Because y'all don't realize who really pulling the strings and dictating things behind the scenes. Y'all hear some people, regular people hear this and they're just say, oh yeah, conspiracy theorists. He trying to say the Rothschilds or this family or that family is really pulling the strings and running America. But you don't get why you say, Ghost, why are you saying all this? What you got to do with this conversation? What I'm trying to tell y'all is number one, first and foremost, I believe in my entire heart until we change our tax code. Listen, there is a lot of problems in America. And you're not going to fix every problem by changing your tax code. You understand that? That's not every problem you ain't gonna fix but I think that's number one. I think our number one, when you change that tax code, we could get to the economics about it. It's a certain mentality. It's a certain mentality that you displaying or you forecasting. Because the mentality, the opposite mentality of taxing a rich man is this. It's the mentality President Trump and them have. And the way I'm saying it breeds, bleeds, whatever corruption. I'm telling you, the attitude President Trump and them have is no, we're not going to tax the rich people. What we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to let a trillionaire. I mean, I don't care that much about a tax code. As my boy Jeff Bezos said, there's a nurse out in the Bronx and she got 2 children and she's single and she working hard paying $1,000 a month in taxes. And yet and still you gonna give my boy over here, you giving him tax breaks. Saying because he create the wealth, he getting a whole lot of wealth too, $1 trillion. That's way more than what his workers are worth or what they making. Probably all of them combined. And I'm sure Elon got over 100,000 workers. That don't make no sense. See, that's the alternative. You see what I'm saying? It bleeds. It breeds corruption. To where this man that's making all this money, we writing our tax code. That means that's the way we're governing. Like we are signaling. That's the signal. We're signaling with that tax code that I'm gonna give this billionaire a tax break, or I'm gonna give this millionaire a tax break for a lame excuse that they create wealth. It's like you give it, like the tax break is the all break, really. It's the break that they shouldn't get. That's the first thing. And I mean, if your policies, if your money policy, if your tax policy is that you're gonna give them a tax break, probably every one of your policies you giving them breaks across the board. You letting their kids get away with murder. You see what I'm saying? They got different laws and rules for rich people that they do for us. And we know that. And that's what I'm saying. I believe all of this starts with that tax code. I think we need to first reform that tax code to where the people with if you make over $5 million a year and above, those people should be paying all the taxes. Though they own all the wealth, they might pay majority of the tax. The argument that I hear from Republicans and you on that other side is they might pay the majority of the taxes. They need to pay all of the taxes. I'm not talking about Good Morning Titan Brew. If y'all haven't liked the video, y'all double tap the screen for me. I'm not talking about paying most of the taxes. I'm not talking about a man who worth $10 million. Sir, I'm not talking about you. If you worth 10 million, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about them people who make $5 million a year. Do you make 5 million a year if you worth 10 million? Probably not. I'm talking about those people who making the money who can afford it. I'm not talking about Elon with his $1 trillion. I'm talking about the people who make $1 billion a year moving forward. You rewrite that tax code. And then that mom in Queens who's struggling to pay her rent out here in the Bronx, struggling to pay her $2,800 a month rent for a little small 1 2 bedroom apartment. You see what I'm saying? Like, who's struggling to pay that rent? I'm saying she ain't got to pay no taxes. She got more money in her pocket. You just made life easier for her. You gave all of America stimulus. You see what I'm saying? That's the best thing you could do. Like, if I feel like, listen, if Republicans went that way instead of the way that they're going now, to where they believe giving a billionaire tax cut, because I can't reconcile that, and make it don't make no sense to me to give Elon a tax break for nothing. It makes absolutely no sense to me. It makes zero sense. And I mean, that's really the majority of my where my argument is in my spiel. Listen, let's get into economics. I was talking mainly about corruption and how, because people, every time you talk about taxing the rich, most of the people think that it's all about economics. And primarily it's about economics, but I think it's about attitude. It's about getting, and that's what the vlog is about this morning, going to Madison Square Garden and highlighting the Knicks. It's about a winning attitude. Having a winning attitude, in my opinion, is when you make the people in your country who can afford to pay the taxes. That's having a winning attitude. You going to get the money for the taxes from the people who ain't got, who fighting to survive. How is that a winning attitude? That's more like a desperate attitude. That's my whole point. That's my argument. I don't care if you can't see it. That's my argument. And taxing the rich is a winning attitude. Point blank. Period. That's just how I feel about it. Listen, let me explain something to you. If we lived in a society where we did not have the debts that we have, let's go back to the society that we didn't have the debts that we have. Let's go back to the 50s. If you look at the greatest economic times in modern US history, or I say in US history, I would say I could think of three periods. In the 1950s, that's when America first was a superpower on the world stage. World War II was over. America was their economy was developing as one of the fastest growing in the world. You see what I'm saying? America's military had already demonstrated and shown itself, and they were building their military. America became a superpower during this time in the 50s. That was like the greatest economic times, or some of them, arguably, in U.S. history. You see what I'm saying? And so we're gonna look at the 50s, we're gonna look at the 80s, and we're gonna look at the 90s. Okay. So in the 50s, you could ask me what was the tax code in the 50s. And somebody had said this on the stream the other day. I don't know if it was you, Titan Brew. It might have been you, Titan, but in the 50s, the tax code was 50% on $1 million. So if you made $1 million, the government is finna tax you 50% of that $1 million. You see what I'm saying? And look how good our economy was. You will hear people that like, or I would say Republicans or people who just support like giving billionaires tax breaks. You will hear these people say, hey, well then if we raise taxes on the rich, A, B, C, or D will happen. That is not true, because you could go back and look in US history at different times when we had taxes, higher taxes, and our economy did the exact opposite. Our economy was doing great. That's what I'm saying. So if you look at in the 80s, so in 1980s, we all heard of the Reagan tax cuts. And I want to speak about, yeah, we going I know I got some Republicans back there. And I know y'all gonna say, hey, Ghost, don't do that. Because y'all know when we get to the 90s, y'all know who the president was in America in the 90s, right? Yeah. So, and y'all know the 90s was a good period for America, even though President Clinton did end up cutting taxes. We, we that's a whole different conversation. Let's start with the 80s. All heard of the Reagan tax cuts. So you could say, Ghost, without being too specific, just staying on your argument. Your argument fails in great economic times for America, because you highlighted the 80s as being some good economic times in the United States, and Ronald Reagan was the president, and we all know about the Reagan tax cuts. So you could be as smart as a fifth grader and you could get the conclusions to that. But what I want to tell you though is with those Reagan tax cuts, because if you want to cut taxes, I'm not saying that cutting taxes is a horrible thing. Governor Shapiro is the governor of Pennsylvania. He big Democrat. He over 60% support in a purple state. That means that state voted for President Trump last time. And he got over 60% of the support. You know what that's telling me? He got a lot of people who voted and support President Trump who voted for him. And he a Democrat. So Governor Shapiro, he believes in a certain extent to cutting taxes. He cut taxes in the state in Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. But you got to do it you got to do it with stipulations. You can't just give a blind tax cut to a man and expect him to use the money that he's getting from the government and that tax break that he should be paying, because the government's going to take that money they collect in taxes and they're going to pave some roads, they're going to build some bridges, they're going to build some schools, they're going to give firefighters and teachers in the military a raise. That's what the government's going to do with that money from taxes. You see what I'm saying? They could use that money to help pay Social Security and help pay food stamps. There's a trillion things, literally 39 trillion plus things that we could do, the United States, with that money from taxes, instead of giving a tax break to that rich person. You see what I'm saying? But looking into Reagan tax years, even though Ronald Reagan might have gave rich people tax breaks, let me tell you something Ronald Reagan did. That's why I'm saying it's time to rewrite the tax code again. When the last time we rewrote the tax code? You know what happened during Ronald Reagan's administration? The greatest redistribution of wealth in U.S. history. And I'm going to take a second while I drink this monster and let y'all think about it. This is where Republicans might get kind of mad at me, and Democrats might too. You see what I'm saying? Because this is what makes a president legendary. Barack Obama was a great president. He was a good president. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to hear you with your Obama derangement syndrome. Barack Obama was a good president. But I don't know if he was better than Ronald Reagan. Listen, this is what I'm gonna tell you about Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was legendary. You gotta look at some of the problems that Ronald Reagan overcame. Ronald Reagan had a problem bigger than President Obama did, and Ronald Reagan had a problem that was bigger than President Trump's geopolitically. Because I'm saying, for the most part, due to Ronald Reagan, the United States is able to have a somewhat cordial relationship with Russia. That is due to Ronald Reagan. You understand that, right? Y'all might not think that deep. And President Obama was able to somewhat have a cordial relationship with Russia. It's due to Ronald Reagan. And I'm saying President Obama and President Trump, they are currently spatting over Iran, as Iran being the biggest problem, the single most biggest problem to America during their administrations. But I'm saying during Ronald Reagan's administration, he had to deal with a superpower that was bigger than him. Iran is not bigger than America. So, regardless of the problem that President Obama and President Trump have with Iran, it wasn't bigger than the problem Ronald Reagan had. The USSR or the Soviet Union or Russia was a problem America had that was bigger than America. Nuclear power. You see what I'm saying? It was the USSR, ginormous communist nation. And America and the USSR was in basically head-to-head competition. We was praying that no missiles get fired, no nuclear war start. And Ronald Reagan, he talked down the USSR without one missile being fired. I guess President Obama could say that's what I did with Iran. You know, you gonna hear the Republicans say completely opposite of that. But I just want to show you that about President Reagan's problem solving abilities. Well, getting back to the money, getting back to the taxes, even though President Ronald Reagan, y'all could argue, and I'm not even getting into this side of your argument about the Reagan tax cuts and him giving rich people tax breaks. I want to show you what Ronald Reagan did when he gave those rich people them tax breaks. This is probably one of the most important parts of the entire stream, what I'm finna tell you guys right now. What Ronald Reagan did is, you know, the child tax credit that the women get. I know you gotta know, every single American breathing has to know at least one person who has a child who doesn't make a certain amount of money and who gets back that 2000 or that 1500 or 2500, however much it is, for having that child. The child tax credit. You know who, what administration that came? Yeah, that's Ronald Reagan. What? I'm saying Ronald Reagan, I don't care who you give credit for, because I know you get these political people and these historians, and they'll come in here and they'll give you exact. And I'm not trying to get, I'm talking about under the Reagan administration, that policy has helped millions. President Biden, he added to that child tax credit during COVID and the aftermath of COVID. That's how he helped bring a lot of American children out of poverty. But I'm saying during Ronald Reagan's administration, that's what you guys gotta realize, bro. I'm talking about, even though he might have gave tax, what are you doing for the poor? That's something that, look, I seen, look, President Trump, at least I could say one thing. Like, whenever he did give the, when he started with the big beautiful bill or the tax cuts, at least he recognized that what those tax cuts were. So he said, "Hey, we gonna get the money back for America during through tariff revenue," which was working for a certain for a little bit of time. You see what I'm saying? I wouldn't say it was necessarily working, but he was collecting a whole lot of money from tariff revenue, a lot of money. But you know that went to the courts, and so you know what I'm saying. You know that's part of his game plan that he had to change. He had to adjust his game plan because, you know what I'm saying, his game plan was that I'm gonna give tax breaks for rich people and to cut that deficit in which the money America's using losing. He's a businessman. Most Republicans who come after him is not going to be that clever. I'm gonna tell you that for 1,000% fact. So you hate on President Trump, Democrats, all y'all want to. The next Republican you get who become, he gonna want to cut taxes and not give no nothing to nobody, no tariffs, no nothing. Just cut the taxes. But what they doing is they bleeding out America by doing that, and they don't even realize. Some of them don't realize it, but I think President Trump, he's starting to get it. The Republican Party starting to get it. That's why they lost 20 years worth of presidential elections. What? That's 5 presidential elections. The popular vote, the people didn't vote for him. You see what I'm saying? It just makes absolutely no sense for you to give this rich person a tax break, and I'm struggling to put food on my table, and you knocking on my door to collect what in taxes from me? It makes no sense. But that's what I want to say. That we talking about the greatest times in America. So when y'all Republicans, when we go to the 90s, we gonna talk about Bill Clinton. That was a Democrat. You know, Democrats have been progressive this entire time, and they believe, yeah, they've been progressive the entire time. And the Democrats believe in make. I'm talking about. I don't remember a Democratic president in my lifetime, and I was born in 1980 when President Reagan was elected. I don't remember a Democratic president who don't believe whenever you raise taxes on the rich, that automatically benefits the working class. That's just common sense. Cutting taxes do not benefit the working class whatsoever. Not one drop. How you want me to say it? You want me to say it in Chinese or Russian or what the Iranians speak? Arabic. Cutting taxes does not benefit the working class one drop. It only benefits the ultra rich, the upper middle class. It may. And so whenever a Republican or a conservative come at you and say, hey, if we cut taxes, yeah, I just ghost gate. Nah, I look at the 50s, look at the 80s, and look at the 90s. When you talk about Ronald Reagan, though, and those tax cuts, if you want to do your tax cuts, so if you got a Republican president, he want to do a tax break. He want to give these rich businesses a tax break, and he kind of goes, "This the best way to." Okay, President Trump, this what you do. When you give him a tax break, you got to do that with a stipulation. If it's a smaller company, if y'all create 1,000 jobs, y'all get this much of a tax break. If you create 500 jobs, you could call that what the Republicans call that oversight. We don't like oversight. You could call that whatever you want to, but you got to have an incentive. Just like President Trump and JD Vance and them, they smart. That incentive, I believe in incentives. It's not paying the enemy. It's like you slow walking Iran onto the world stage, or you slow walking them where you want them to go. And meanwhile, while you slow walking them, you got something in that your hand that they want. So I'm gonna walk you away from these nuclear bombs, and while we walking away from the nuclear bombs, just like you train a dog, you give him a little treat. You got the whole steak in his hand. Don't give him the whole steak, you idiot. Just give him a little nibble, and you walk him to where you need to go. And at the end, he get all of his. You see what I'm saying? That's the same thing. You use that same mentality. If I'm gonna give a rich man a tax break, it's got to come with incentives. If your argument is that the reason why I want to give him a tax break is he gonna create the wealth, it's no way in the world I'm gonna watch you give him a tax break and he don't create wealth for nobody but himself, especially in 2026. Because I'm gonna tell you how it is in 2026. I'm not hating on Elon, but I'm saying that Tesla is coming out with a humanoid. And Elon's humanoids, for the most part, they might start inside people's houses. They might start helping to take care of the elderly. They may start in China. China, they building their own, but they might start, you know what I'm saying, like police robots, or but eventually they're gonna be taking people's jobs. Yeah, that's what's coming. I could hit you from 18, I could hit you from 25 different spots. I could hit you from 100 different spots. And I'm gonna get down into the comments in just a second to see, to get some of you guys' feedbacks, some of y'all Republicans' feedbacks. It don't make no sense to give no rich man no tax break. Not when you got a $39 trillion debt. And you gotta understand, idiot, that the way you collect revenue is through taxes, idiot. So, like I said, see, this is the third reason. If y'all keeping up, this is the third reason why I'm giving you why we should tax the rich. The first reason I talked about how morally and how it helps America, or it helps us overall, because if you change your attitude and you put them taxes on that rich man, I told you how that helps us overall. You see what I'm saying? Helps corruption and everything. The second reason that I gave you is just for the pure economic reasons of it. And I'm giving you a third reason right now. I'm saying I could hit you from every single angle that you could. I don't hear no explanations and why taxing the rich is good for America, and it makes sense at all. It increases your deficit. You see, President Trump, during his first administration, he added more money to the U.S. deficit than any other president. And the reason why that happens primarily is because of those tax cuts. Because what you gotta realize is once you stop collecting revenue for people, that's how America gets paid. That's how America collects revenue, is with them taxes. So you increasing deficits by not collecting taxes, or by not collecting taxes or giving tax breaks. You gonna it's natural that the national deficit will increase as well. You see what I'm saying? And I'm saying overall, America doesn't do as good. Like I said, President Trump is a little different than the other Republicans. And I've said this in the past on my past live streams, and I'll say this again. He's a businessman, he's not a politician. So, knowing business, he's going to know if A, B, C, and D is going to work. Even if he does it anyway, because of the politics behind it, he's going to know when he does it if it's going to work or not work, if it relates to business. So President Trump, he realizes by giving these people a tax break, he understands that's not in no way possible could that be helping America. I heard President Trump say tax the rich. I promise you. I think he's starting to see, because look, if the tariffs don't work, I'm saying, how else you going to collect the revenue? Because you can't afford to lose the revenue. And then to add insult to injury, I'm talking about Republicans. We ain't really talking about this morning. Not only are they cutting taxes for rich people with no incentives, but I'm saying not only are they cutting tax people for rich, I'm saying like they cutting programs for the poor too, trying to pay for it, and still wasn't able to pay for it all the way. That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying the little setup that the Republicans have, it's not working, man. The only way America will remain or become successful and prosperous is that, I believe, our first thing we need to do is adjust the tax code. It listen, what's if you have problems in the country, so you talk about all the problems, list all the problems America had. You know what I'm saying? Say this is the summer of 2024 and President Trump is running for president, and he got a list of all the problems that the United States has. I'm saying, in my mind, your number one problem is you gonna have, it's how you collect money. That's my number one problem. That's your number one problem. That's your number one issue is how you get money. You see what I'm saying? That if someone come to you with a problem, first thing you're gonna tell them is increase the revenue, go get more money. That's the very first thing you're gonna tell them. So I'm saying our entire the way that's what I'm saying. The money we spending, the budget, and the money we're collecting in is bringing in is the taxes. You hear us talk about the budget all the time and how important the budget is, but what I'm saying, what's more important than the budget is taxes, because that's the money you bringing in or collecting. And I'm saying if President Trump, if he had the goal is to collect tariff revenue and you can't get as much money in tariff revenue, but yeah, Ghost, I got money in investments. But I'm saying President Trump, the next president after you ain't gonna get all that money in investments. So I'm saying our tax code need to be adjusted. It need to be fixed, man. If y'all haven't liked the video, y'all double tap the screen for me, subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all hit that notification bell. Also, guys, I'm promoting them channel memberships, man. You know what I'm saying? If you guys rock with me, if y'all on the channel, man, you know what I'm saying? During the Tax to Rich tour time, man, y'all get those channel memberships. Best way to support the channel. Hit that button with the $ in it, and your donations are much appreciated. It's my boy Titan Brew. Look, y'all get in the comments. Titan Brew says a man that's held the presidency twice is definitely a politician. Yeah, that's 10,000%. I don't care what nobody say. President Trump is definitely a politician. You know what I'm saying? Hey, stop. Y'all hold on a second. Stop following me, man. Just stop following me. Just stop following me. What's wrong with you? I don't know you. Go get saved. Go to church and become a Christian. Well, if you're a Christian, you're not finna be doing this. Just stop following me. What's wrong with you? Look how you look. I don't record nothing. You need to go put them drugs down. Stop following me, man. I'm doing some business for real. Don't get yourself in trouble out here being goofy. Real talk. Listen, don't get yourself in trouble out here being goofy, man. Okay? I'm trying to help you out. Like you on crack or something, go do something. Find you something to do. Yeah, I apologize about that. Yeah, Titan Brew, he says, yeah, he definitely a politician, man. 10,000%. He definitely a politician. There's no way in the world. Listen, after you become president that first year, the connections that you have, the people that you're gonna meet, your party. You see what I'm saying? The very definition of what politics is, or what politics means. You see what I'm saying? The very definition of it, like you politicking. Yeah, he definitely a politician. You could say a businessman. You can't take the businessman from him, because I'm saying you still. I mean, they done made over $1 billion in a year. That's been reported. Over $1 billion. So you can imagine how much his business is making. They making billions of dollars. So yeah, he a businessman, and at the same time, he a politician too. You know what I'm saying? Before he became president, if you ain't never held political office, I could say he wasn't a politician at that time. But after his first 4 years in office, when coming back into office, yeah, he a full-fledged politician. That's why he promised to not go to war, and then he went and dealt with Iran. That's what politicians do. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not bagging on them or hating on them, but that's the nature of politics. That's what politics is about. President Trump, in his heart, he didn't want to go to war with Iran. He gonna tell you in the end, in a memoir, in an interview, that they had to go to war with Iran. They're gonna come out with more information that you probably ain't heard before, and they're gonna say that they had to go to war with Iran. He gonna tell you that, the necessity of that. You see what I'm saying? But what I'm trying to tell you is that, yeah, he a politician, though, not hating on him at all, but he a full-fledged politician. Before he became president, if you was gonna say that he wasn't a politician, yeah, I could say he wasn't a politician then, but now, yeah, he a full-fledged politician. Oh, you said he can't handle the slightest part. Well, I would say that the slightest criticism, I would say that would make him not a politician, actually. Because most politicians, especially polished politicians, you could criticize President Obama tight and all you want to. You see what I'm saying? I don't think he cared too much. President Obama is a polished politician. President Trump, I think he created a new brand or a new style of politics. You know what I'm saying? He definitely created a new brand. I think what some people said, like how we seen with Jasmine Crockett, like how she had that out front, in your face, true style, like that's the kind of politics we see other politicians that's running that look very similar to President Trump with populist ideas. I think he created a new style of politics. You know what I'm saying? Somebody says Trump couldn't lead a casino into profit. That's not leadership or business acumen. I mean, maybe you could say that, but I'm saying you can't say nothing about him not being able to lead a casino. Y'all take something somebody did in the past and y'all make it be who he is today. That's just facts. Y'all take something somebody did in the past and try to make it be who they are today. You see what I'm saying? Don't tell me something about what President Trump did when he was 50 years old, when he 80, man. That's been 30 years ago. You know how much people change in 30 years? He's changed a lot in 30 years. That's not taking up for him. That's just being real. So 30 years ago, he sent the casino bankrupt. Maybe he did, but in 2025, they made over 1.6 billion in 1 year. You could call it corruption, you could call it whatever you want to. But I'm saying, yeah, it might be. I'm not talking nothing about that. Good luck trying to get charges on President Trump, though. But I'm not talking nothing about that. All I'm trying to tell you guys is that you can't take and put something on somebody what they were in their past. He ain't like you trying to make him seem like he A, B, C, or D. That's not what he is. He might have been that 30 years ago. Some of them things he was 30 years ago, he still is. If some of y'all say he was a con man 30 years ago, you need to show, and he's still a con man, you got to show me what he did back then that he's still doing today. In order for you to keep that label on him, you could say he was a failed businessman. I guess if you file in bankruptcy, you know what I'm saying? You ask Elon how many bankruptcy he filed. Elon probably never filed a bankruptcy before. He might have. I might be wrong. Filing bankruptcy might be how you get rich. I might be wrong. I don't know. But all I'm trying to say is, from what my understanding is, he might have been a failed businessman, but I'm saying I Googled the man's net worth. We looked at the man's net worth. The man's net worth when he running for president is billions. Oh, he estimated to be worth between $4 or $9 billion. That's a billionaire. I know how many billionaires it is in the world. You know what I'm saying? I know you looking at 8 billion people in the world, and you got 1,000 less. So I know like he is within the top 91% of wealth in the world. He's among that name list, whether he whatever failed or not. He failed his way. I know if his daddy was a millionaire, I know that wouldn't get him as he wouldn't be as rich if he would as his daddy just by living off the money his daddy left him. He wouldn't be as rich as he is today. I know he wouldn't be. So I'm saying, like, leaving the money his daddy left him, and now he in the top 1% of the richest people in the entire world, then I'm saying he might be failed businessman, but he failed his way correctly, some kind of way. He's a businessman still, failed or not. He a billionaire businessman, failed or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. You got that Trump derangement syndrome, just like they got Obama derangement syndrome. Some of y'all legacy media people got Trump derangement syndrome. You don't think you do. If you never congratulated President Trump on something he did, you got Trump derangement syndrome. That's how I feel. Facts. because I believe like there's no way in the world that you could say that he's never done nothing good like President Obama never done nothing good. My boy Titan Bruce says yet Trump is seen as a businessman while he bankrupted casinos. Hey, is it possible? You got listen. This is what I'm saying, Titan. You got to look up what's the definition of a businessman. I'm saying, what would you call President Trump? What would you call a man who had hundreds, if not thousands, of employees? Is that not a businessman? I'm saying, what do you call him? You see what I'm saying? Somebody got hundreds, if not thousands, of employees. What do you call them? What do you call somebody making hundreds of millions of dollars a year? It's a businessman. You see what I'm saying? I understand your argument and stuff. You say he might be a bad businessman or he might be this. That's up for that's up for argument. But you can't argue whether or not the man is a businessman. That's what I'm saying. That's what to me that sound like it just don't even sound right. If we was talking about if we weren't listen to me, and I'm trying to help y'all. Listen, if we weren't talking about President Trump and we was talking about random guy A B C D E F G over there, and we say random guy A B C D E F G, he flying around in a 747. I don't care if y'all Democrats say it's old with his name on the side of it. You see what I'm saying? He living in penthouses. He owning golf courses. Come on, man, that's a ordinary. If his name wasn't Donald Trump, you would see him as an ordinary rich person, billionaire. You wouldn't care about how many times he filed bank. You know how many times rich people who not famous filed bankruptcy? That was a common occurrence in the 80s and the 90s for rich people to do that, to keep their wealth, to file bankruptcy. I'm not making excuses for him. Everything you saying about him probably true. I don't know. But you can't say he ain't a businessman. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just the way you say it. That's the problem. The Democrats, y'all need to hire a lawyer if you don't want to hire a ghostwriter to help you. Because I'm saying, like, I got the answers to help you guys, man. You see what I'm saying? I got the answers to help you. Titan Brew goes on to say selling meme coin is an easy way to make money when that money can buy influence with the White House. Maybe it is, Titan Brew. And I'm not saying that it's not. I'm not saying using your influence, yada, 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 yada. But before he came there, he was worth at least $1 billion. Can you say that, Titan Brew? Before Donald J. Trump arrived to the White House for the first or the second time, he was worth at least $1 billion. Can you say that? Anybody, can y'all say that? Follow me, right? Okay, if that's true, what I want you to do now is to go Google how many people in the world are worth $1 billion. That's what you, regardless of what you, however you cut it, that's what I'm saying. I'm an arguer, guys. I know how to form and develop arguments to win, to beat anybody. So I'm trying to create and develop an argument that ain't got no holes in it. And I'm saying, if you saying President Trump is not a businessman or he's a failed businessman, you got holes in your argument. Because even if he had to cheat and use corruption, I'm saying in the end, he making 1.6 billion a year in the end. And it ain't no way in the world you're gonna be able to put handcuffs in him on him for the meme coin or be able to impeach him for the meme coin, right? Ain't no way in the world. Maybe y'all got a plan, but I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying, guys? Y'all stay down in them comment section, man. I'm gonna keep getting them comments from y'all. You guys have not liked the video, y'all go ahead and like the video, man. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all hit that notification bell. We out here in Queens, New York, man. That's why I had to apologize, man, for that female earlier, man. You gonna get that all the time. You know what I'm saying? You'll get stuff like that all the time in the city, man. Just a random crackhead, man. I don't even know where she come from. I don't know why she out here. I don't know what she doing, bro. I don't know none of that. You just come up here talk about being on the camera, man. I hate to be like that with her, man. I wasn't trying to be rude or mean with her, man. You know what I'm saying? But she just can't do it while I'm live. You know, Titan Bruce says failing is definitely part of being a business owner. That said, a casino wins 9 or 10 bets. Failing with a casino simply shows a businessman is bad at business. Maybe he might be bad at business, Titan Brew. Ain't nobody arguing that. We saying you can't say he not a businessman. You see how you gonna have to switch your argument. That's why I'm saying you got to do those arguments before you present them. Because if you in front of the people and we having a debate and you saying President Trump is not a businessman, I'm going to demonstrate whether or not he a bad businessman or not. He a businessman. And not only is he a businessman, he's been more successful than 90 some percent of businessmen that ever tried to do business that ever lived on God's earth. He got more money. What you got to realize that 99% of the people who living on God's earth, that's what you got to realize. So if let's say if we doing business, right? And let's say out the business we doing, you got 1,000 people, and I'm ranked in the top 20 out of 1,000 people. How could you say I'm failed anything? I might not be number one. I might not be a trillionaire like Elon. But if I'm number 19 out of 1,000 people, I'm saying President Trump's numbers look way better than that. If he number 1,000 out of 8 billion people, it's hard. You still gonna be hard to say that he was a failed businessman. That's what I'm saying. When he had the casino, the moves he made while he owned the casino, Titan Brew, as a normal human being, you don't think he changed? Y'all don't think the Trump. See, people who are Christians, they have this understanding better. And I'm not saying that Donald J. Trump is a Christian, or he might be. I know people have told me he professed to be a Christian. But what I'm trying to say is that whenever a lot of people who aren't Christians don't understand this. When you become a Christian, you're supposed to change. Your mind, everything's supposed to be given a change. Following Christ. I'm not saying President Trump is following Christ or he ever accepted Christ. But what I'm trying to tell you is that people change, man. You talking about the Donald Trump when he was 50. That's not the same Donald Trump at 80. In a lot of ways, it's the same, but I guarantee you, just like you got wiser when you with your money from 18 years old to 50 years old, he got wiser with his business from 50 years old to 80 years old. So if you was talking to me during the time he was filing his bankruptcies, during the time his casino went bankrupt, then yeah, I say, yeah, failed businessman. Yeah, he did fail at that time, but he failed and he got back up and he survived and he became president of America 2 times. Survived. Assassination attempt, survived. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. You see what I'm saying? You look at all the other people who running against him for president, they not worth $1 billion and they trying to get money. If I'm not mistaken, somebody told me they paid almost $1 billion for President Obama's library. Am I wrong? Y'all tell me if I'm wrong or not. These are the people now who got Obama derangement or Trump, whichever one. They told me they paid almost $1 billion for President Obama's presidential library. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. That's not even news to me. That's not even news to me. You think President Obama wouldn't make $1 billion if he was capable of doing it? Yeah, he would. He ain't the president no more. He might not have aspirations to be the richest person in the world like President Trump might have had. But I'm saying you don't think he'll make the money? Yeah, he gonna make money. He'll take it. If you come up with him a good business idea, he just gotta go around speaking, and you know what I'm saying, he can make A, B, C, or D, then yeah, he'll do that. Come on, man. You know he will. That's what I'm saying. So if it was President Obama's thing, I mean President Trump's thing to make the money, you know he was into making money. He been into that since day one. That's what he into. You see what I'm saying? So I just don't look at it like that. I don't look at it like y'all do about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Y'all look at things that are corruption that, you know, look, if y'all were saying all of this about President Trump during his first term, but I mean, you came at him with like, I mean, the people like I'm an independent, y'all. I never voted for President Trump. Understand that. Never voted for him. I talk about the decisions they make all the time on this live stream. But I mean, you come at me and y'all. I just want y'all Democrats every time y'all are complaining about President Trump. Let me use that word. I want y'all to know how it sounds to us, because we heard all of this starting with that Russian hoax story, and I mean, you spent the last 4 years, really longer than that, when he was first elected. The last 8, 9 years trying to put dirt on top of. And I'm saying after 30 some fell all that, you still couldn't put dirt on top of them. To me, that should tell you everything you need to know. That tell me everything I need to know. After all that, we still couldn't bury it. You see what I'm saying? Then what I'm saying is the chances or the prospects of you burying him with some corruption or something like that, it's probably not gonna happen. So when the American people hear that, it's like the Russian hoax story, just like Vietnam #4. It's like you on Russian hoax story number 33, the 33rd episode of the Russian hoax story against Donald Trump. And that's why y'all won the election, because y'all stopped talking to the American people and you just so focused on putting dirt on his name. I'm saying I understand you did that in 2016, and really, y'all people hate on the Democrats 2016. The Democrats lost a whole lot of seats. They had to win a lot of seats in the midterm. They took the power back from them. They did. They took Congress back pretty much for the most part, the House of Representatives, and they took the presidency back. But this one I'm trying to say though, I'm saying you spending all that time trying to prove that he went bankruptcy 8 times. The American people don't care about that. The American people want to know why you let 25 million illegal immigrants into America. Oh, it wasn't 25 million? Oh, 10 million, 12 million, 15 million. Why you do that? The American people wanted to know why inflation was so high, why the cost of living was so high. The American people, the young Americans, wanted to know why they seen no prospects of buying a house or having a opportunity at the American dream. That's what the American people wanted to know. They don't care nothing about what they showed it to y'all. Y'all should have seen that with Bill Clinton. I'm talking about, imagine being in the Oval Office. I'm, you in America's office, and you with a female who 30 years younger than you, and she up in here giving you sexual pleasures, and you lied about it to the American people to their face. And they found you out and put you on blast. And guess what the American people did? They still didn't care. His approval rating higher than, you see what I'm saying? Probably higher than Obama's. They still didn't care. That's what I'm telling you. The American people, they care. It's not like they don't care. It's not like the American people are immoral. They are not immoral whatsoever. The majority of Americans profess some sort of Christianity or some sort of religion. They care about what's right and wrong, but they looking for a president who's gonna do a great job. You see what I'm saying? This is political. This isn't a religion. You see what I'm saying? They looking for a president who's gonna perform. So we looking, they gonna judge his performance. They judging his job numbers. They judging that stock market. They judging whether or not you've done anything to help out the poor. That's what they judging. They judging them snap cuts. They judging that war in Iran. That matters too, though, because it's gas prices and inflation over 4%. Inflation was right at 3% when you was elected. We elected you to lower inflation, and then we looking at 4% inflation. Guys, I'm trying to help Because I'm saying tomorrow, when we do the live stream tomorrow, what you think we gonna be talking about? Would the stock market finna hit 55,000 points like I told y'all it was? What y'all think we gonna be talking about? You see what I'm saying? What y'all think we talking about with the price of gas dropping like it's dropping? What y'all think we gonna be talking about tomorrow? I'm saying I just gotta cover what's going on, and that's what's going on, and that's the fairest thing. I could only be as fair as I could be. It was boneheaded, in my opinion. You should have listened to Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, because in my opinion, listen, when I was seeing what was happening with ICE and stuff like that, I was like, ooh, that don't look good for them. I know President Trump's got some tricks in his bags to win the House of Representatives, but the Democrats only need 3 or 4 seats. Last time they took 40 plus seats from you in 2018 in your midterms, President Trump. And when they got the power, they impeached you. So this time you only got a 3, 4 seat. Man, boy, you better stay zoned in. Because history's against the incumbent. You see what I'm saying? But once that Iranian war started, man, I don't care. To me, it don't matter what kind of tricks or bags President Trump. When I started seeing poll numbers at like 70% of the people who are lined up against President Trump, in my mind, that told me everything I needed to know for that midterm and them House of Representatives. To me, the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries, he might as well go out there and take a picture with the gavel in his hand. In my mind, Hakeem Jeffries, he already there. He gonna be the next Speaker of the House. Shout out Brooklyn. You know, I'm up here in New York and Queens. You know what I'm saying? East New York. But if you ask me though, like the Senate though, the Senate is still in play, but the Democrats got a really, really good chance. They got a really, really good opportunity of taking the Senate too. But I think due to fighting that Iran war at all, I think due to fighting it at all, I think that guaranteed, that's the nail in the coffin that the Democrat and the president, y'all gotta realize in this war, we hear about this peace memorandum, and I'm gonna tell y'all some stuff tomorrow. Because just what I said was gonna happen, gas prices are finna drop. They dropping. They're gonna be under $4 probably by this week. As long as President Trump and them don't have no missiles or nothing like that to go off, or the plan to get derailed, I'm saying gas prices will be well under $4 by this weekend. This weekend, under $4. You see what I'm saying? Listening to Lindsey Graham and them, it'd be over $5. But now it's going back down under $4. And we know when the price of gas dropped, everything else dropped because everything is coming and being brought and moved, transported, logistics by the petrol. You see what I'm saying? And then the stock market is just people, I'm saying if you have money to invest right now, if you worth a few $100,000, that's your trickle down economics. You need to jump in that stock market. Because I'm saying I don't see it doing nothing from this point but going higher and higher. I'm telling you, that stock market finna hit 55. That Dow Jones is finna hit 55,000. It's gonna happen sooner than later. Record territory. Your job market look good. Your price is getting back down. I'm saying, how can you hate on that? I know people, you know what I'm saying? We could start, like, after we talk about the effects of President Trump making the right decision tomorrow on Thursday, we could start talking, because the Friday the deal's supposed to be getting signed. So on Thursday, Vice President Vance, he piecemealing to us what's in the deal and what's supposed to be agreed to and what's going to be signed. So we could talk about that on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? But where we at right now, we over an hour. I covered the content. Where we are right now, I'm saying President Trump, he done brought us back to we going to get back to a good spot, get back to the money. How can I hate on that? When the entire time I was saying that you need to end this conflict ASAP. I've been saying this the last month. You know what I'm saying? So if you end the conflict, how am I hate on that? You know what I'm saying? We could be critical of the deal, but I'm not going to hate on that. Look, I'm not hating on the stock market doing good. Somebody making a whole lot of money. The rich people making a lot of money, but I'm not hating on the stock market doing good. I'm not hating on price of gas dropping. What it need to do, rise? I'm not hating on that. You see what I'm saying? I can't hate on inflation. I can't hate. You could say, y'all could argue if y'all want to, whether or not we should have went into this conflict at all. I think that's a valid argument because I could think that goes against leadership. You know what I'm saying? President Trump's leadership, but y'all better be careful because I'm saying he could make a better argument for why he needed to bomb and do that to Iran. To me, he could make a pretty good argument about how that was necessary. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying you saying prices went up for 3, 4 months and then they started dropping back down. I'm saying the American people, some of them ain't gonna remember this with it, but you gotta realize too that President Trump and them, just the way he governs, you know what I'm saying? We might see some more things before November that might upset the American people. My whole argument for this, respond to that comment the last 10 minutes. I know I've been all over the place. Is though, y'all Democrats just stay focused on the issues. That's all you need to do. Stay focused on the issues. Who would have ever thought that President Trump would have went to war with Iran? He gave you a gift, right? You got handed a gift. That Iran war is a gift. That helped the Democrats so much. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying like the death of Renee Good and Ellis Peretti, the ICE, that was like, so all you got to do is just stay focused on the political issues. And I'm saying with the way President Trump governs, he's going to give you an opportunity to take back the House of Representatives and the Senate when his name ain't even on the ballot. You know what I'm saying? If y'all catch him red-handed taking money from Putin, if you catch President Trump red-handed with the Secret Service receiving a bag of money from Putin, and y'all got recorded the conversation, he said he want to betray America, then yeah, y'all could come out and tell us that. But sitting here with this nitpicky stuff, talking about he got a $400 million plane from Qatar, or he did this, or nobody cares that they had to take President Trump's name down from the Kennedy Center. The average American do not care, not the average American. That means so much to those legacy media people. Oh, he wanted to put his face on the $250 bill. The average American do not care. That's y'all rich people arguments. These people out here, bro, I could take you to neighborhoods out here in Jamaica where these people barely making it. They don't care nothing about no Trump name on no Kennedy Center. That's what y'all care about. And you know how much time the legacy media spend covering talking about that. And President Trump care about that, and that might be get to him, but I'm saying the American voters, that's why I don't never talk about that stuff. Him building a ballroom, some people care. The only way you can make that care, and you could say he's spending hundreds of millions of dollars and he doing all this stuff, but he ain't doing nothing for the American people. He making $1.7 billion in a year, but he ain't doing nothing for the poor people in America. That's the only way you can make that an argument. You just telling me they had to take his Trump name down off the Kennedy Center. I promise you, the average American voter do not care. And we ain't barely even know it's a such thing as a Kennedy Center. That might work for people who live in Washington, D.C., but you could go in the impoverished neighborhoods in Washington, D.C., they don't care nothing about no Kennedy Center. Ain't nobody care about no Kennedy Center. Trump Kennedy Senator or Kennedy Senator. To me, that's irrelevant stuff. You see what I'm saying? But I know it's personal because you a Democrat or you a Republican, so y'all got this personal beef going on between each other. I'm trying to keep you focused on what the American people care about so you don't lose too many elections, whichever side you are, so we could get the best politicians in the office. This is what the American people care about. The stock market isn't a top issue, but the stock market benefits over 30% of Americans because a lot of Americans got money in the Dow Jones. I'm not the Dow Jones, the S&P 500. That's where your 401k is. So that's something American people care about. They care about the job numbers. An average American, can I quit my job and go get a job tomorrow? Or if I get fired from my job, will it take me a year to get another job? That's something they care about. You see what I'm saying? Big ghost of snap cuts. See, I ain't gonna talk about stuff. The stock market benefits the rich, and the snap cuts benefits the poor. I'm talking about the whole spectrum of voters. A lot of Republican strategists, all they talk about is stuff in that upper stratosphere. They don't care nothing really about the working class. President Trump was the first president to win the working class, but President Trump, for you to be able to maintain that working class, I'm saying it's cool to have UFC fights. It's cool to go to NBA games. I don't see it like you, Stephen A. Smith. I understand what you're saying about New York, but in the end of it, who cares? The Knicks champions. Who cares that President Trump came to a game? If you was President Stephen A. Smith and you wanted to go to a basketball game, what? Man, get out of town. I don't care about stuff like that. The little bitty issues that they make big deals about, I don't think it really matters to the American people. I don't think the American people don't care. The Knicks fan might have cared for 5 seconds that President Trump came to a game. They won the championship. Ain't nobody even talking about that. You see what I'm saying? Don't make a big deal about something the American people don't care about, because what you going to do, you going to end up giving up an election. Because they hearing President Trump talking about, all President Trump doing is bad mouthing VP Harris and talking about the economy. So I'm saying you should spend more time talking about the economy than bad mouthing him, because see, your economy, you know what I'm saying? Even though y'all job numbers are the best in U.S. history, and y'all did, truth be told, because of COVID, but the American people weren't forgiven for them high prices and that inflation. That's what them American people care about, that inflation. The American people care about that economy. And you can never forget that. And yeah, I'm a trained dog, and this trained dog was learned how to stay focused. So while I was trained how to stay focused, I learned how to focus on my legal cases, zoned in. And another thing, the only other thing I do is this live stream. So political analogy, zoned in. I'm gonna stay focused on what the voters care about, because my strategy is gonna win you elections. You know what I'm saying? And that's facts. That's big facts. Ahmad says, "What's up, Ghost? That UFC fight at the White House calling Michelle Obama out of her name. I do not disagree with that at all. I do not agree with that at all. You see what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of people have Trump derangement syndrome, because of how he talk about bro. I've heard so many people hate on Michelle Obama, including Charlie Kirk. I think Charlie's hating because you could say Charlie was kind of racist or whatever. He might have been. But his best friend was Candace Owens, and she was a black woman. You see what I'm saying? But that was a political thing. It wasn't about her being a woman, it was a political thing. Charlie was a conservative and Republican. It was political. It still was wrong, and he still shouldn't have said it. But any kind of disrespect to Michelle Obama, I'm gonna get on your head top. I promise you. I'm not for that at all. That's crazy. You see the Democrats spend time trying to tear down Melania. You know why they do that to Michelle? Because they see Michelle as a threat. The Republican Party, President Obama, they see your wife as a threat to them. In my opinion, Michelle Obama in an election, I don't know what I don't know why, because people had talked about there was a strong opportunity for Michelle Obama to jump in and run against President Trump whenever Joe Biden bowed out. But you know what I'm saying? The right thing to do was to get at the VP Harris. What I'm saying is, I don't see how y'all Republicans gonna have a rough time beating Michelle Obama in that election. But she won't never run. But that's why they be at Michelle all the time, because she a threat to them. I totally disagree with you. If you don't agree with somebody' politics, that's one thing. But trashing her name, man, if that's true, I completely disagree with that. And I say that's grotesque. That's the same thing they do with you, President Trump. And that's why they do it probably. Because you know what I'm saying? It's like tit for tat. You can't hate on the Obamas for getting at President Trump. because he be getting at them all the time, posting pictures of them as money. They ain't even he could that make you look like you jealous though. Real talk, arguing about you having bigger crowds than him, that make you look like you jealous. You see what I'm saying? Constantly with the man's name in your mouth. Because I don't see President Obama, he don't walk around constantly with President Trump's name in his mouth. You see what I'm saying? That stuff needs to chill out. Y'all need to cut all that. That's like little kid stuff. That's like childish stuff, like children. Oh, we gonna talk about Michelle Obama. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like for what? What you gaining out of it? The American people. I'm telling you how the American people look at it. They don't want to hear you talk about nothing about me. That's not helping your cause politically at all. You see what I'm saying? Donald put dirt on himself. Maybe he did. That's right. We the people want to know prices of everything is up. Medicare, the gas not dropped in Washington State. It ain't dropped yet, but it's about to. But it's about to, Annette. But yeah, Annette, you could say what you said is 1,000% right. When you start talking about that, he putting dirt on himself. Okay, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? We want the prices of everything is up. That's what you need to talk about because I promise you that's how you going to win elections. Can you trust them Republicans to back President Trump for 2 more years? Can you trust them? The Democratic Party nationally, we finna bring down your prices. The whole time the Democrats been talking about bringing down prices. You don't think the American voters remember that? You don't think the American voters, look, it started with AOC and Bernie. They the masterminds. Bernie Sanders, the mad, he looked like the mad scientist. He the mad scientist behind this though. Because after the Democrats were crushed, and I was hearing all a legacy media, even the Democratic strategists. What's up, James Carville? He down there from Louisiana. That's like where I'm from, man. I even heard James Carville say that the Democrats we don't have a message. And then that's what Bernie Sanders and AOC, they probably was throwing rocks at the TV. They probably said all the Democrats who said that we don't have a message, we gonna primary you. And we gonna move you out the way, include you, Nancy Pelosi. Your time is up. Because the Democrats have a message. They have the best message economically. On social issues, not as much, in my opinion. But economically, the Democrats have the best message. It's the same message they've always had. It's the same message that got Bill Clinton elected. It's the same message that got Barack Obama elected. And it's the same message that got Joe Biden elected. And Bernie Sanders and AOC said, hey, look, since y'all don't have a message, give me the microphone. This is my message. And the No Kings tour started. They started rallying. 80,000 people showing up in Los Angeles. AOC, all y'all regular Democrats got to do is shut up and let AOC say the stuff she was saying for the last 8 years. Not the stuff about President Trump and impeaching Trump, because see, we'll hear from her because we seen her roll up her sleeves and fight to help regular people, ordinary people like us. She been doing it the whole time she been in Congress. And Bernie Sanders, that's what he would too. They had a message the whole time. They said, shut up, Democrats, give us the progressives the mic, and let me tell you what the message is. The message is to tax the rich. The message is to help the working class. You don't think the American people seen the Democrats shut down the government for higher health care prices? Yeah, that's why a lot of Democrats hop back over. That's why a lot of independents, hop back over. Because they started seeing the Democrats, they started coming back to their senses. You back to your senses now. This is your senses. Here's your senses. And your census is to stay focused on the issues of the working class. That's the message, Democrats. That's the message, Republicans. Whoever can convince the American people better that they are in their best, they're doing stuff in their best interest, that's who wins the election with the American people. President Trump did that last election. But I'm saying you got to get your inflation down 4%. I'm talking about you looking at we in June now. We almost in July. So just say we are very much at the beginning of July, August, September, October. 3 full months. We got 3 full months and we finna hold elections in the United States. 3 full months. Stephanie Murray lives in Litch Park, Arizona, works for the city of Peoria, has stolen over 100K in federal from disabled veterans. Well, Stephanie, whoever Stephanie Murray is, all y'all need to do is report just what you said to the President Trump's and them administration. I promise you, they're gonna deal with that vigorous. I promise you, that's gonna get dealt with. You stealing money from disabled veterans? Oh yeah, yeah, you gonna get dealt with vigorous. You see what I'm saying? Ain't nobody taking nothing from me. No money, no court. You got in order for you to take the money from me, you gotta beat me in court. It ain't happening. I got too many cases, bro. You can't. It's no way possible. You can tell. I got cases spread across America. You can't take all of them. That's a fantasy. I'm talking about me personally. You ain't taking nothing from me. No 100K. You drunk, dumb, and stupid. You gotta realize, like people who tell me stuff all the time, like you gotta realize I've been through everything that you putting in my face. I've seen it all. I heard your mouth. You can't run no psych op on me. You're not smart enough. I know you trying and you gonna keep trying and you gonna keep trying, but it's like what you gonna stay in Afghanistan for 20 years and lose the war in the end? If your war is to control my mind, you can't run no operation on me. You can't control my mind, man. You feel me? It ain't no way possible you can. That's what you gotta realize. Bro, all of this stuff they told me in Texas they were gonna take this case from me. You don't have that kind of power to take no case from me. You acting like the judge is just a mush brain. And the last judge that I went against, who was a mush brain, he lost in the appeals court. That's crazy. Them judge like you, these people, these are they professional. You ain't taking nothing from nobody. Go sit down. You feel real talk. You not taking no. If I lose a case, it's because I lost the case. Every case that I ever lost, even the case where the judge kind of went towards the other side, he still said I did something wrong, even though I proved him wrong in the appeals court. But he said I didn't serve them right. But I knew the way to correctly serve them, and because I did the way he said to serve them. And then the next time I served him the way the law said to serve him, which wasn't the way he was saying to serve him. That's why he lost that appeal. But I'm saying, even in the case where it was fishy and I still won it, I did something that they considered wrong. I'm saying in none of these cases, all my arguments are pure. What I'ma lose? I'm saying you can't run no psych ops on me. You look like a crazy person. The only reason why they doing that and they continue to do it every day thinking I'm a break or being a foe is because nobody got a light or exposing you for what you're doing. Because behind if we see what you do in your time, in your spare and a long time, you would look like a crazy person. You trying an impossible mission, man. You cannot you God breaks people. How you gonna break somebody? You need to break yourself. Or you need to break some of your children or your family members. You got people in your own house that need to be broken. You don't have no power to break somebody. God does that. They have to come within the understanding within themselves, and God's gonna do the rest. You can't do like you sitting over here like you trying to make the grass grow or something. He out here, he gonna make the grass grow. Man, I'm talking about y'all didn't try to take y'all just bump God all the way out. And you know who done it the worst is the religious people. You know the world, they didn't came up with artificial intelligence. You see what I'm saying? They didn't came up with art. They trying to create God or bump God out the way. And the religious people over here doing the same thing. They not praying and asking God to help somebody. They out here trying to do it themselves and wondering why it don't work. Because you can't do with something that you don't have power. You a man. Some men don't realize that. That's what I'm saying. That money give them a God complex. Now he walking around thinking he like God because he worth more money than most of the people he see on a daily basis. Or he worth more money than everybody he see on a daily basis. So this man walking around like he God. He think he God. That's what that money do to people. It corrupts. God said the love of money is the root of all evil. Real talk. I'm just being real with y'all. I'm gonna just keep it 1,000 with you. You know what I'm saying? 1,000. Somebody said, who thinks Trump won the Iran war? How can President Trump win or lose a war? To me, it ain't about him. It's about, you know what I'm saying, what the American people, I don't think they like that stuff. And I hear y'all, man. It's very interesting stuff. It's just stuff I don't cover on this channel. You see what I'm saying? To me, it was like whether or not the United States won the war or not. If President Trump in the end get that nuclear dust, how can you say that he didn't win? How, in some kind of way, how can you say he didn't win? If he gets that nuclear dust, how in some kind of way you gonna say he didn't win? Some kind of way. Because that's the whole thing he was saying. Iran, I heard him say it yesterday. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. That's it. He clear about that. So when he gets there, when we know that they don't have a nuclear weapon and they can't, how can you say he lost? Just like you can't say President Obama lost. Because President Trump and them would say that, oh, that bad deal, that was a horrible deal. That just helped them get a weapon. That's that Trump derangement syndrome and Obama derangement syndrome. If you could say Iran is, look, there's a trillion ways for you to look at this. If you're looking at the asymmetric part about it, yeah, America did. President Trump, to me, it was an error for him to attack Iran in the very first place. Looking at it from that perspective, because now Iran at any time, because of the Strait of Hormuz, they know the power they could wield over the Strait of Hormuz. So that's the unintended consequences of President Trump attacking Iran in the first place. That was a mistake, in my opinion. But that's debatable. But what's not debatable is he said that they could never have a nuclear weapon. And he does this, and now he gets the nuclear material they have, and they didn't sign the deal saying for 20 years they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And I heard VP Vance say this morning that American inspectors are going in just like before under Obama. So that's pretty solid to me. If he said that's what he was doing it for, then hey, that's what he did it for. They get that nuclear material. How he lost that? Did it cost America too much for him to do it? Yeah, way too much. That's why he had to stop. If it didn't, he would have finished like what the Republicans were saying. But he didn't finish what they were saying, and he continued because the cost of that war was way too high. Yeah. But saying that he lost the conflict, how you lost the conflict if you didn't drop 14,000 bombs? Or however many bombs they dropped, 10,000, 11, 12, 13, 14,000, that's irrelevant. Over 10,000 bombs. How you lost the conflict? And not one of your cities been bombed. Which American city got bombed? Blow for blow. How America lose blow for blow? You got to explain that to me. Blow for blow, how America lose? How President Trump lose? He said he was only going to be there for how many weeks? He was there longer than he said he was going to be, so he had to leave early. It wasn't really early. He just was smart enough not to stay there and end up, because y'all running y'all mouth saying that he lost. He could be, America could have been there at least till he got out the White House. But if he would have took Cargill, and that's how close we was to a forever war. If he would have took Cargill, he was that close. Because I'm saying the Iranians weren't going to stop. They ain't going to stop. Just like they did in Afghanistan. Oh, you said comply or else doesn't sound like a religion of peace. The Saudi Arabians aren't like that. Who you saying that says comply or else? You mean they side does, right? Because that's what they saw. I say, I know you ain't saying no Christian ain't saying we ain't nobody say comply or what or else. He just said that you didn't kill too many people to have a gun in your hand. That's all he's saying. The Iranians, they didn't kill too many people to have a nuclear weapon. That's all he's saying. You can't have a weapon. You know how America, it ain't no comply or what else. What's happened over the years, we've just enacted laws and we've seen consequences of laws. So we understand that the Iranians, as soon as they get a nuclear weapon, who in this room think they gonna launch it at Israel? Iran got proxy armies all over the Middle East. What other nation got terrorist organizations surrounding Israel, fighting Israel constantly? So we thinking in our mind, shoot, the Iranians get a nuclear weapon. As soon as they get it, they finna try to dog Israel out. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying like, what? That's not comply or else. That's just saying that we don't think you need to have a gun. That's what the rest of the world thinks that too, include your allies, China and Russia. They said they don't think you need to have a nuclear weapon. That's what China and Russia said too when they helped President Obama the last time with this peace deal. Unless they didn't change their position, which I doubt. That's not comply or else. Now, as far as the Muslim religion, listen, I don't think you could correctly teach any religion in which a God is involved where you saying comply or else. That's that comply or else is a government thing. That's not a religion. You just using that religion. Thank you for the gift, baby. You just using that religion as a cloak. You see what I'm saying? Comply or else you just using that religion as a cloak. That's all that is. That's not a religion doing that. That's a man doing that who trying to exercise power over you. That's all he is. And he using the religion as a cloak. Y'all know what a cloak is? He using that religion as a disguise. That's a wolf in sheep's clothing. The Saudi Arabians practice the same Islam that Iran. Well, one of them Sunni, one Shiites. But I'm saying it's plenty of people who practice Islam, and I'm not picking on Muslims because Christians are just as crazy or just as wild. In every religion across the board, listen, China gonna come straight out and just be comply or else. And they not gonna hide behind a religion. You gonna know that's Xi Jinping and that red communist party. That's the same thing Putin gonna do. It's the old Russian bear, comply or else. You see what I'm saying? But see, over here in the West, our governments be doing the same thing. We just gonna hide behind religion. Like it's Jesus telling you comply or else. That ain't nowhere in the Bible, though. It's just, see, you can't run no psych ops on me. You're not finna lie to me about what the scriptures say. It works on most people who don't understand the Bible, but I know what the Bible says. And the Bible don't say comply or else. That's what the government or some rich dude who's trying to exert power over people is saying. God ain't say that. God gave you a free will, a free choice. Same thing in Islam. You see what I'm saying? I ain't gonna like boost up the Saudi Arabian government. I just like, you know what I'm saying, the crown prince because the Saudi Arabians, their government, they kill people too. A lot of their religion is comply, but it's more of the government than it's just the religious teaching that because your government can let that religion practice like how they do in America and just hold people accountable for actions. Because if your religious say comply or else in America, they don't care. You go around killing people, they're gonna put you in jail. You see what I'm saying? So you're not gonna be able to obey that scripture you say that's in your Bible, comply or where else. You ain't supposed to be able to obey that in America. You see what I'm saying? Because this is a free country. God gave every man free will. That's facts. You see what I'm saying? That's scripture. God gave every man a free will. So how can the Bible really ever say comply or else? Any religion. The Muslims too. That's the government doing that. That's what I try to tell y'all. We look at Iran as if it's the Islam and it's their religion that make it to where we look at them as they're some great mortal enemies. But you cool with Putin. He want to kill the supreme leader, but his best friend Putin, though, you cool with him. And you blaming the Iranians killing thousands of their citizens on it being Islam. That's not what that is. It ain't got nothing to do with Islam. That's the government. That same government in Russia that don't believe in no religion and kill thousands of their people. That's not religion. That same government in China who don't believe in no God will kill thousands of their own people. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And in America, they'll try to say comply or else. They just, and this religious people, they gonna come with you, they gonna send a religious person at you in America. You see what I'm saying? Because they're going to make it seem like it has something to do with religion. It's the same thing in Iran. The difference between what they're doing in Iran, North Korea, China, and Russia is the Iranians are trying to make it seem like it has something to do with God. But they all doing the same thing. It's just the Iranians, they have a literal charge before they kill their citizens, like they disobey God. God's name is in the charge that they give them before they mass murder their citizens. They just trying to do it hiding behind God. In America, they'll do the same thing. They're going to try to hide behind God or a religion or comply or else. That was a really good comment. But it's just men who trying to exercise power over other men. That's all that is. It's just men trying to exercise power over other men. Listen, if you in the military, they say comply or else, that's correct. In America, you got to choose to sign that dotted line. So you chose to go in the military, so you know what the military is. That's what the military is. You see what I'm saying? You know that's what the military is about. That's something totally different, you know? But what I'm saying is though, like if you just out here in the streets and you just trying to control people, I'm saying that's some crazy stuff. That's how I see it, man. You know what I'm saying? It's an hour and 41 minutes, man. I see some people still in here. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people, bro. They be coming in here to hear me talk politics, man. I appreciate all the love and support, man. If y'all haven't liked the video, I ask that y'all double tap the screen for me, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Everybody, Elon Musk is the world's first trillionaire. Once again, SpaceX hit the open market, and voila, his evaluation is over $1.1 trillion. Congratulations to Mr. Elon Musk. Guys, Tax the Rich, this episode number 54, this big ghostwriter coming to you live from the Queens, New York. You know what I'm saying, man? We came, we saw, we conquered, man, just continually bringing content after content after content. You know what I'm saying? It's like everywhere we go, listen, I'm going to just let them go. City full of crackheads. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be on somebody's camera. Pull your own camera out. If you want to be on somebody's camera, pull your own camera out. Bro, city full of crackheads. Y'all notice how when she got past me, she stopped talking, though. She ain't talking no more. Y'all ain't heard her say nothing else since she got past me. You see what I'm saying? And now she hiding behind the pole, but you want to be on camera. But you hiding behind the pole, but you want to be on camera 5 seconds ago singing, but now she got up there, she ain't singing no more. But I'm saying, like, but look, the people, that's what I'm saying. You could try whatever you want to on me. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna help you. The only thing gonna result out of that is they gonna get sued. And they be crying when I sue them. Bro, they be crying when I sue them. They be trying to convince me not to sue them in every way. They be crying when I sue them. But that's the only way. That's the only thing coming out of that is a lawsuit. That's it. And they mad when I sue them, but they don't understand, bro. You can't be ignorant your whole life. People gonna do what they want to do. God gave them the free will. That goes for the government. That goes for a preacher. That goes for whoever you got who going with you. Listen, I heard Candace Owens say this yesterday. She said the majority of rational Americans think that Charlie Kirk was killed because of his support for Israel, okay? Where did that get BB Netanyahu and Israel? BB Netanyahu and Israel, you see what I'm saying? If that's the truth, and for some reason, some way affiliated with him, that Charlie Kirk gets assassinated. And so now look how that turns out for BB Netanyahu. President Trump going off on him on the daily. I just hope President Trump don't end up hating BB like Obama ended up hating. I just hope that don't happen because President Trump is a lot more aggressive than President Obama. You see what I'm saying? I just hope that don't happen. I don't hope President Trump, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. Just like BB Netanyahu, same situation. Hey, my boy, I like that shirt. You hear me? He got legend on this shirt, man. I had to get him over here. I told him I like that shirt. You hear me? That's your boy Big Ghost Rider, man. But nah, man, it ain't like that, bro. It's just a bunch of crackheads around here that's talking. Bro, I hear crackhead over here. It's like when they see me doing a live stream, it's like they want to be heard. You see what I'm saying? If you want to be heard or seen, start your own YouTube channel and do your own content. That's what I be trying to tell everybody. They always, people, I guess they don't have the ability or they can't. So they got to clutch on to somebody who can. You see what I'm saying? Even that's another thing with rich people. They don't be having the ability or they can't do something. So when they can't do something, they try to find somebody who got the skill set to do it. You see what I'm saying? Just start your own thing. Just do your own thing. I'm saying, why bro, you ain't never in your life got to worry about what I'm doing, bro. I'm talking about, bro, listen, you hear the crackhead walk by talking loud. As soon as the crackhead get to the front of the fence, she ain't saying nothing else no more. I'm saying I don't understand. People do pointless stuff like that all the time. That's why I know they miserable and they ain't got no life. You can't have no life if you doing that stuff all day. You cannot have a life because I have no time to worry about what you doing. And I'm saying I have time on my hands. I'll make enough time to do these lawsuits, these new cases that I'm about to do. But I'm talking about what you doing in your life. I have no time to worry about it. I don't care. I grew up hearing a lot of men say that, but they weren't honest with what they're saying. Their whole life is about men, and they dedicated their life to a man. I didn't dedicate my life to a man. I'm not like you. You gotta realize that in your head. You dedicated your whole entire life to a man. Helping a man or not helping a man. I didn't dedicate my life to that. You see what I'm saying? You gotta realize that, man. So my mind don't work like yours. It never will. I don't care nothing about what some dude do. I almost said the N-word. I don't care nothing about what he do. It don't have nothing to do with me. I don't care, and I don't understand you men who do care, because I understand. I read the Bible. I know what the Bible say. I care to a certain extent, but that's just what it is. You see what I'm saying? It's just what it is. I have no ideas or no recollections or no cares whatsoever, bro. None. And I'm saying people, bro, they be so amped up and so hyped up about this and that, and they wake up with this on their mind, and they focused on this, and they focused on that. And I'm saying, what are you getting out of it in your life? What profit is it bringing? What profit you get? Whatever you trying to get me to do, I could do what you trying to get me to do, and you still ain't gonna be happy. You a miserable person. You see what I'm saying, bro? Look, for you guys who just catching up to this content and y'all don't understand it, like I do this often, man. I'm involved in a bunch of legal wars. 4 years, independent paralegal. I filed over 36, 37 lawsuits for all kind of stuff, bro. I got lawsuits open right now, 4 cases open right now against police departments all across America, from Mississippi up here to New York, over to Connecticut, suing the police. That's what I do. You see what I'm saying? So, people don't like it. They get mad. They try off, bro. You would be surprised how the people that came over me, at me over the years. All kind of stuff. pulling guns, knives, all kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? You'd be shocked. And in the end, they never satisfied. You know what I'm saying? If I left Queens today, wherever I go, they're going to be sniffing behind me. See, my mind have never worked like that. You sniffing behind another man. It's like they need me. He need me in his life, bro. He can't live his life. He can't wake up a day in his life without thinking. And I'm thinking about one man in particular. He can't wake up a day in his life without thinking about me, bro. You done got kind of sick with it. You kind of sick. Bro, I said they was obsessed with me, bro. He bragged about being obsessed with me. And I'm saying they gonna hide it. You gonna mask it like it's God. You gonna hide like it's God. This don't have nothing to do with God, what you doing. I'm just being real with you. It don't. You could say you personally try to help me. I don't see how you helping me by getting a crackhead to come by and talk loud. Like, how are you helping me? I said, I'm trying to figure out what does that do to help me? Like, you teaching me to ignore him? I'm gonna ignore him anyway. And then I didn't ignore it. You see what I'm saying? I didn't ignore. I said something to her. This she walking behind me like I'm walking and I'm looking and she following me. I said, what you want? I'm gonna say something. You see what I'm saying? Or if I don't say, if I ignore, I'm saying, what are you accomplishing? You're not accomplishing nothing. You're just wasting your time and your life, your own life. You people don't realize how close they are to really being great at doing something, but they always fail. It's like a scripture in the Bible. It say Moses struck the rock, and that stopped him from getting into the promised land. But he probably better than everybody else out there. But he this close to being great, truly great. Because we might look at Moses as great. Yeah, he is. He wrote the first 5 books in the Bible. But what he wanted to do, God gave him a task of leading the people to the promised land. God let him lead the people to the promised land. He couldn't even go in. Doing too much, man. A man always doing too much. You got to be careful when you give a man money and power because it go to his head. That's why, and I've seen the mistakes that men have made with that power. We all have. We've seen them put people to death that ain't even guilty in our own country. You see what I'm saying? I've seen the mistakes, man. So that's why I just don't even get into that. I don't care what a dude or a person doing in his life. I never try. Why I'm gonna run a psychological operation on you when God gonna just overturn whatever you doing, and then your psych ops don't work. You calling the same play for 10 years. Imagine if you coaching the Saints and you calling the same 5 plays for 10 and you losing. You losing the battles. You could win a game, but you losing the battles. And you calling the same 5 plays for 10 years. Same 5 plays. Ain't got nothing different in your playbook. The same 5 plays. I'm talking about for 10 years straight, over 10 years. You ain't grown. You ain't grown. If you was growing, you would adapt. That's what growth is. You notice how in America, we have laws that we had in the 50s. And I'm saying we still got laws that we had in the 50s, but since the 50s, we changed a lot of our laws in the United States. You see that? That's called growth. You grow over the years. If you're doing the same 5 or 6 things that you've been doing for 15 years, you trash. That's facts. You gotta grow. You gotta change. You can't ask somebody to change and you not change. You talking about somebody comfortable and you a millionaire. I don't care if you live in Mississippi, go say wherever you live, you a millionaire. Living comfortably in your house with your wife, your kids, and your grandkids, doing the same exact. You might have changed church one time. In the same house, same cars, or you might get a new car every now and then, doing the same things that you've been doing for the last, and you talking about somebody else growing or changing. How can you teach somebody else to grow and change and you not changing or growing? How you gonna teach them to grow? You ain't growing yourself. You been stopped growing 10 years ago. How you gonna teach me to grow? You ain't growing. You doing the same 5, 6 things. Think about it. Bro, I'm telling y'all, I've been going through this. When I was in Ghost State, bro, it's the same. And I know who doing it because I could tell your plays. Y'all, I was in Ghost State, Mississippi. Same thing. You just have random crackheads or people just wondering, coming up, saying something, screaming. The same thing, bro. You did. Let me see. When was I living in that apartment in Ghost State? That's 2018 or 2019. 7 years later, you ain't changed a bit. Same thing. He go in the playbook, he pull out a program, and you got the same program that you had 7 years ago. Nothing changed. Trying to create fear. That's a devil playbook. Trying to create fear. Psych ops, trying to create fear. And then when it's not working, you like, oh, we taught him something. Nah, you didn't teach me nothing. It's just you not trying, you not learning, and you not growing either. God said there's scriptures in the Bible, people who fame themselves as teachers, and you need to be taught. And this is a moment where you're getting taught right now. If you watching this, the Lord will have them watch it, or Lord have them hear what I said. You need to get taught, and you getting taught right now, bro. You got the same program. Bro, come on. How you expect me to change or grow? And you, look, I might have changed or grew some, but you could be taking me to a higher spot, but you can't take me there. Just like Moses can't take the people into the promised land. Moses took the people up to the promised land, and then they got to go into the promised land without him. And just imagine, they the ones who was out there getting drunk and high. And Moses was obeying God's word. And just because he got mad and struck the rock, they went into the promised land and he didn't. That's what I'm saying. You the same way. You gonna lead me to the promised land. You ain't even gonna be able to get in it. And I'm gonna walk in the promised land, and I was way worse person. I probably was as guilty as you said I was, but you not listening to God. You got your own way to do this. You got your own way to do this. Oh, if we just sit there and pray, yeah, God ain't gonna do nothing. See how you had to roll back the stone and do something. So you and your doing something, you doing too much. And you done struck the rock. And I'm going to that promised land. It's just that you ain't going in. I'm going to places you ain't never been before. And God gonna make sure you watch me do it. He gonna do it in front of your eyes. Thank you for the donation. He gonna do it in front of your eyes while you saying I'm just as wicked or whatever you saying about me. Just like Moses was saying that about the people he was leading. And what ended up happening is them people ended up going into the promised land. And Moses did. That's what happened. And that's the same thing gonna happen to you. I'm just trying to help you, bro. Like I thank God that he didn't make me a preacher or a pastor or somebody in the military or the police who my life has to be about people. I thank God he didn't make me that. That's a curse. In my opinion, that's a whole curse. A full curse. Real talk. That's a full curse, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a curse I never had to experience, bro. Listen, you're not going to give me nothing. I'm just watching you do stupid stuff and saying stupid stuff, bro. And we just sit here on camera watching you. I don't know how you expect me to react. I'm going to react like anybody else react to you being stupid. But I do have tachycardia, though, and I do have an abnormal heartbeat. So that's all I'm saying. You keep doing that, you're going to end up with a bill. That's what's going to happen. All you got to do is just keep doing it. All you going to get out of it is a bill, another lawsuit. They too slow to, he don't even, the dudes, bro, he want to get off what he trying to do so bad, he don't even care if he gets sued and have to pay. He don't even care. Because you can say you're not paying all you want to. You tell Sleepy Hollow that. You tell them that you're not paying. And tell that judge, that federal judge in that court you're not paying. Don't tell me that. Tell the appeals court that you're not paying. Tell the Supreme Court of New York you ain't paying, and tell the appeals court to the Supreme Court of Westchester County you ain't paying. Don't tell me you ain't paying. The reason why you trying to tell me that's psychological, bro. You trying to get in my head. That's why you always gotta run your mouth and say stuff. You trying to get in my head, bro. I'm not trying to hear nothing my opponent's trying to say. All four of them police departments getting sued, and I'm gonna sue some more. And you finna get another one out here in Queens. You gotta be smarter than a fifth grader, man. I mean, you can't be God. That's all I could tell you. I got God with me. Brash, what's up, baby? What's happening, bro? He says, good morning, Bug G. Bro, nah, you got bugs out here in the park. Ain't nothing but, you know what I'm saying? Bugs out here in the park. You said tell Mike to call you. Who is Mike? I'm saying, you saying tell Mike to call you. Who Mike who? And I'm saying, how do I talk to Mike? You know what I'm saying? I don't know no Mikes that I talk to. Oh, nah, bro. It's all good. Yeah, the bugs out here in the park, bro. Like I'm saying, I don't see what you'll wake up in the morning and to spend your mind in thought. Listen, they so obsessed with power and the fact that they could get people to do stuff. So it's like, it don't matter if they out here doing some stupid, irrelevant stuff that's not going to help or work. They just obsessed with the fact that they're able to get almost anybody to do something that they want. They get obsessed with it, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. These dudes in their mind, they get messed up with that. It's that God complex, that power and that money together, it corrupts. You don't have to have 100 million. You could just have 300,000 and be walking around thinking you some super gangster with a Bible in your hand. How you a gangster with a Bible in your hand? How you a gangster in a full red suit with a Bible? You a gangster and a preacher at the same time. You making a mockery out of God's word. Don't make a mockery out of God's word. You ain't got to be a hero to the streets and the gangsters. You need to be a hero to Jesus like King David, for real. That's what it's about. Christ is king, y'all. That's my time. Legal Wars Live. I talk law, I talk politics, I talk legal wars, man. 7:45 a.m. tomorrow, man. We're going to be talking about the new peace deal, how the stock market, price of oil, and all of that looks like. I'll see y'all in the morning, man. I love every last one of y'all. God love you too. I love crackheads too. I love the person who sent the crackheads, man. They just miserable, bro. They not happy. Pray for their peace, man. The God of peace could provide you peace, brother. If you worried about what I'm doing every single day of your life, you don't have no peace in your heart. That's bottom line. You might have some peace in your heart, excuse me, but you don't have the peace of God in your heart. If you had the full peace of God, you're not worried about what I'm doing. I promise you. It can't be no preacher. I would excuse a preacher if he was worried about what I'm doing, but I'm not under no preacher. I haven't been under a preacher in years. So I don't see how he can in his mind logically think he have authority over me. So if it ain't a preacher doing it, if it's the government, they wrong. That's why they getting sued. You can't exert no more power over me than you can over any other citizen. Or you discriminate. You violate my constitutional rights. That's what it is, bro. I ain't gonna change. You're not gonna get me to change on where I'm at. I'm standing 10 toes on where I'm at. They tried everything I'm going through. I went through it in Houston, and I beat it. And I come to New York, and it's the same thing. They saying the same thing. They trying the same things. They think something gonna be different. Ain't nothing gonna be different. The reason why last time that, like, you know what I'm saying, I went through something like this before, you know what I'm saying, I was trying to throw parties at a club, man, saying I was a Christian. So yeah, I'm gonna stop throwing the parties at the club. I became a real Christian. What I'm doing now, bro, you wasting your time. I'm gonna just tell you, but you could waste as much of your life as you can. I just pray that you're a Christian, and I pray if you are that God will give you some real peace. But I love you though, man. It's Legal Wars Live. It's your big boy Ghostwriter. Man, I feel sorry for it, but I still gonna sue him though. I ain't gonna show you no mercy, though. I still bankrupt you, but I feel sorry for you, though. But it's your boy Big Ghostwriter, man. I'll see y'all in the morning.